Hello. Today we're going to talk about research questions in an academic paper. And research questions are usually placed at the end of your literature review, and they tell the reader what exactly you're going to be looking at in the research. And they need to be specific enough to guide the reader so they know what to look for. And it looks like they have to be planned. So it doesn't look like you're fishing for information. So you need a clear sense of what the research questions are going to look like. So there are three things we're going to look at in research questions. One is that they guide the direction of your research. And the second is they can help you organize the presentation of the research. So when it comes to writing up the research, you can use the research questions as headings for how you're going to organize the data in your paper. And finally, the main idea of writing them is that they have to develop out of the research review. And so by the end of the literature review in the research paper, it has to be clear what the questions are. I'd like to say there's no surprises in the questions. It has to be obvious, oh, this is going to be the research that I'm going to look at. So since the research questions need to relate to the literature review, I want to look at something I'm working on right now. I haven't had the research questions, so I'm going to try to come up with them. So in this paragraph from my literature review, you can see that what I'm talking about here is I'm talking about MOOCs and how they can relate to both first and second language writers. So my research question might be something like, how are MOOCs designed for both first and second language writers? So in this question, I'm looking at a specific part of what I'm studying. I'm analyzing MOOCs here and seeing how they were designed for first language writers, but they're sort of adapted. So maybe instead of designed, maybe I need a better word like adapted for both first and second language writers. So in this second piece from the literature review, here I'm looking at how MOOCs can be seen as a new form of learning space for teaching composition. So I might here want to say, how do writers use a MOOC? Or maybe how do writers learn second language writing in a MOOC differently from how they learn in a classroom? So that's my second research question. And again, it may not be the most specific, but here I'm simply want to show the sort of process by which you think about the connection between your research question and your literature review, and how the literature review sets up the research question. So when you're writing this, you can think about how you have a good idea about what you want to do research on. The literature review can be used to explain why you had that idea, or why that is a good idea, or why that's in something that the reader wants to read more about. And the research question then has to be specific enough to guide the reader to know exactly what the remaining part of the research paper is going to look like.